Today, more and more people are trying to live a more healthy life. For many, this includes changing our eating habits. Even our former president, Bill Clinton, has adopted a vegan lifestyle. This means he only eats plants and has given up all meat, fish, and dairy products. As a result, he has lost weight and his health has improved. But following a plant-based diet does not mean you have to give up all foods that come from animals. It could mean that you are changing your diet so that you mostly eat fruits, vegetables, and grains. Dean Ornish is a medical doctor who has done extensive research that shows how a plant-based diet, along with exercise and lowering stress, can reverse heart disease. On top of this benefit, a plant-based diet can save you money. Let's look at some of the other benefits of eating a more healthy diet full of fruits, vegetables, and grains. Most people who eat a diet of plants notice that their blood pressure is lower. This is because of the potassium that is found in whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and all fruits and vegetables. Another benefit is lowered cholesterol. Many people do not realize that plants have zero cholesterol. Many people notice that their cholesterol number goes down when they adopt this healthy lifestyle. How about blood sugar? The added fiber that comes from eating fruits and vegetables helps to slow the process of absorption of sugars in the blood. You can also manage stress better and not feel hungry. All benefits of the increased fiber. Another major benefit of a low-fat, plant-based diet is that it can reduce your chances of developing cancer. And finally, many people experience weight loss after they adopt a diet that consists mainly of plants. There are lots of scientific data to suggest that plant-based eating is healthy. One of the most well-known studies is called the China study. It is a comprehensive study spanning 20 years that compares the average American diet with other parts of the world. In our country, we eat a larger amount of animal protein than most other cultures, and we have higher rates of obesity and other chronic diseases. If you want to consider a change in the way you eat, it is recommended that you ease into it. When you sit down at your next meal, take a look at the food on your plate. You should have at least half of your plate filled with vegetables and/or fruit. 1/4 of your plate should have whole grains. The remaining fourth of your plate should have some type of protein from lean meat or, better yet, from beans or lentils. Eating a completely plant-based diet may be one of the best ways to improve your health. But even if you don't make this drastic a change, making wiser food choices can still improve your health. Welcome back to class. I hope all of you finished the reading for class tonight. We always have better discussions when everyone is prepared. Okay, if you remember from last class, I told you that we were going to talk about learner-centered education. This way of teaching has been around for many years. But many students and teachers don't understand exactly what learner-centered teaching means or how to do it. First, let's talk about what it is not. Most of us were taught in teacher-centered classrooms. This means that the teacher mostly lectures while students sit and take notes. Then the teacher will give some kind of test to see if the students learned. This method works for some students, but not for all. In contrast, learner-centered education places more emphasis on the student. The role of the teacher is more like a guide to facilitate the student's learning process. In a learner-centered classroom, the student takes on more responsibility for their own learning. This approach to teaching is good for a variety of learning styles. Here are some characteristics of learner-centered education. Using this model, teachers should teach students how to think critically and how to solve problems and analyze their own work. Being able to think critically about skill building work is important. Learner-centered teaching also encourages collaboration. The classroom is seen as a community of learners, and the students should be learning from each other. And while the teacher should have the expertise in the subject being taught, they can learn from their students as well. In this approach to teaching, learning is defined in a couple of ways. 1. Learning is an active search for meaning by the learner. And 2. Learning is constructing knowledge rather than passively receiving it. There are many benefits to a learner-centered approach to teaching. When students are more involved in the process of learning, their motivation increases and they learn more. Also, as the student has more success, their self-confidence grows and they feel good about themselves. It's not always easy to adapt to a learner-centered classroom. Many students misunderstand the process and think the teacher has given up their responsibility for managing the instruction process. But both students and teachers need to take on new roles. Teachers must become comfortable with sharing the responsibility with their students. This is done in small steps rather than making a big change all at once. Teachers can help students set goals for themselves and provide them with many self-directed learning activities where the student takes responsibility for their own learning. Teachers can also allow students to discover their own learning process so that they can apply the strategies that work best for them. This makes students feel more motivated to take control of their learning experience, and they become more self-directed. This is how the instructor makes the shift from quote-unquote sage on the stage to quote-unquote guide on the side. So, what exactly does that mean? It means that the teacher leads less and facilitates more, allowing the student to have more control over their learning. Students are encouraged to observe the instructor modeling the skills being taught and to learn from and with each other. In the next lecture, we will talk about some of the challenges to adopting this method of instruction. Now, if you will all break into groups, I would like you to discuss the article you read by Barr and Tagg.